All right, Shalom. We are the brothers from the Indianapolis camp. I'd like to start off by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wahah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach well and have taught us truth. And I want to say Shalom to you, Akim, out there doing the work in truth and sincerity. All you fellow laborers out there. Shalom to the few Akwak that believe as well. All right, a hearty shalom to you other laborers and believers that are scattered throughout the face of the earth. Even if you're among the heathen, and they're like the heathen who are respectable Israelites, to the household of faith, which is the elect, I want to say shalom to you all. Back at you with another Lord willing edifying lesson. And I'm joined with the elder Gabaria, the brother Barazar, the brother Shakia, and the brother Hardah. And we just entitled this video, and I will increase thy land. All right, and I will increase thy land. And this lesson was inspired by an article that I read. You brothers watched the interview as well with Tucker Carlson and Mike Huckabee, where small hats they claim to have a right to the Middle East, as they call it, which is West Asia. You know, as far as what they're doing, what they have been doing for over 2 decades now. And even going back to the early 1900s when they first went over to that region, it's the land of Canaan, which is known as the land of Israel today. And yeah, they been increasing, you know, their portion, so much so where they even committing, you know, genocide against the Palestinians, which you know, neither one of them belong to the land, but it's just them trying to fulfill the, you know, fulfillment of the true people going back to the land and how the Lord going to increase His people land, which that's the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American people. You know, we're the true biblical Israelites, and they know it. And it's just them coming up with a lie and narrative of portraying themselves as us and saying it's a biblical right to have rights to the whole region. You know, and it's just not true. Somebody want to grab Ezekiel 36 real quick. We can touch on that. Bob Bashar.
God, I'll grab it.
When you got to read it.
Okay, this is the book of Ezekiel 36. And I'll start at verse 1. It's Ezekiel chapter 36, beginning at verse 1. Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, Ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Thus saith Yahweh our power, because the enemy hath said against you, Aha! Even the high places are ours in possession.
Yeah, and that's, we pause right there, brother. Yeah, and that's what okay. The tiny tops right there, you know, they be saying that, you know, and that's because, you know, when you read down verse 5, which you're going to get to it, you know, this is the whole thing of them, you know, getting the land, because they've been always trying to get our land, because ultimately they want the blessing of Jacob, all right, but they're the descendants of Esau, and the blessing of Jacob they cannot receive. All right, that's for Jacob only. And what you have is a lie and deception that's been going out throughout the earth since, you know, the Renaissance period, where they want to, you know, lie and deceive the nations, and also the covering cast of all nations, and then the nations, you know, are in agreement to cut us off from being a nation, and then while we're going through our punishment, they've been portraying themselves as us for so long, to where people started to believe them after so many generations. But Yahweh Bashem Yahushai exposed them as being the wicked and been the true descendants of Esau Edom, beginning with Amalek on down. You got it out.
What was that again? That's Ezekiel what?
36, 1 and 2. You want me to continue on?
Yeah.
Okay. Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 3 says, Therefore prophesy and say, Thus saith Yahweh our power, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people.
See, now, pause right there. And that's us. What's that? Psalms 83, I just quoted. Psalms 83, and also Lamentations 2 goes into that. All right? The nations round about swallow this up. It says that what? It comes off of being a nation that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. This is why that average so-called Negro, Latino, Native American don't know that they're Israelite, but they know now, even though they don't accept it or acknowledge it, but they know now because the gospel has went out. You know? And there's no excuse for our people that don't acknowledge their true heritage. It just ultimately shows that they're rebellious, you know, if they don't want to return. So, but the point is, you know, that's us. We swallow up, we're infamy of the people. All right? Meaning what? We're not important. You know, it says that we won't be reckoned among the nations, man. All right? And that's how it is to this very day. We're not reckoned as a nation, amongst all these different nations. When you go to the UN Security Council, there's no 12 tribes of Israel representation. You know what I'm saying? That's made up of so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans. No, your ass under Esau's so-called one nation under God. Just American bullshit. You know? When the Lord separated the nations going back, all right, to the beginnings, he always made a separation of the people. You had the sons of the wicked, you had the sons of the Most High, you had the sons of men. All right, the sons of the Most High, that's the Israelites. The sons of men, the heathen nations. The sons of the wicked, that's the Edomites today. That's who control the land of Israel today. It's not Cain known as the wicked one. It's not Esau called the boy of wickedness. You know?
Hey, John.
Go ahead.
With my precept. This is Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 10. It says, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we it says, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. It says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thine hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them, and I will judge thee. You know, and this is to back up what where you were going into. You know, these two nations and these two countries. We're talking about what? The Americas and Israel. And these two nations was what? The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. You know, Esau has gotten his possession of not only us, but of our lands as well. You know, over here of the Americas where what northern kingdom dwelt when they separated, when the kingdom had split. Northern kingdom came over here and we stayed over there, you know, and what Esau has gotten possession of both of us, you know. So he said both of us, you know, these people are mine and their lands are mine. But what did the Lord say? He said, what? He shall make himself known unto us, which means by what? Waking up the elect. You see? And what? By us acknowledging who we truly are, and we waking up, even though some, you know, 2/3 of our Jake is not going to understand it, but 1/3 is going to understand and convert and be healed. You know, and then eventually what the Lord is going to give us our land back. You know, like it says in the book of Lamentations, the 4th chapter, says what? O daughter of Jerusalem, your iniquity has been accomplished. You see, so right now, basically, technically, our punishment is over. We're just waiting for it to manifest in flesh. You know, so it says the ending part of that 11, it says, and I will make myself known unto among them, and I will judge thee. Yeah, see, now it's time for you to get your judgment, you know. And what is the scriptures in Jeremiah says is, well, what your judgment has reached unto the heavens, you know. So you're not going to be able to expand. You're not going to be able to what's it called, have, you know, do your enterprise, you know, or you're not going to be able to gather the whole entire world as you think you are. You know, now it's your time to be a judge. That's why you've been in straits ever since the 60s. You know, things has been getting progressively harder for you as times go on, because why? You're nearing the end of your kingdom. You're near the end of your rulership. All right. It says verse 12, it says, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountain of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, and they are given us to consume. Thus, it says, thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Right, man. So what? Basically, the Lord's coming back because why? You've been blaspheming. The way you've been treating His people. You know. Here you is. Here is all the atrocities and all the fucking insane things you've been doing. You know, on the planet Earth, but you somehow find a way to blame the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. You know, you find some type of way to make everybody look at us like we're the bad guy. You know. Make everybody making basically the face of crime or the face of degeneracy to make it a so-called Negro, Latino, and American, to making an Israelite. You know, so when we come into your stores, when we come into your places of business, when we go out, everybody got their nose turned up at us. Where they looking at us like we're the problem. You know, when here you is, you've fucking created mass genocide. And you've done fucking atrocities around the whole entire world, but somehow you making us like we're the problem. You see, and the Lord's coming to repay you for all that. You know, coming to repay you for all the blasphemy that you've been doing. You know, upon the planet Earth, all the lies and the hypocrisies that you've been spreading. All right, that was all I had to that. You got it, Shocky.
Isaiah 63 and verse 17. It says, O Lord, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways, and harden our heart from thy fear? Return for thy servant's sake the tribes of thy inheritance. It says, the people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. Our adversaries have trodden down thy sanctuary. And yeah, the people, Israel, we possessed, our land basically, over like 40 years, not too long, and then ever since, after King Solomon, we was going into captivity, all right, and the heathens will come through in our land, all right, right now, who got possession of our land, the Amalekites, all right. And what are they doing over there? They're over there, doing just nothing but wickedness. All right. They're over there, spreading a whole bunch of lies over there. But again, it says, verse 19. It says, "We are thine; thou bearest rule over them. They were not called by thy name." And yeah, Yahweh Shem Shah, the prophecies is showing that this man is not the children of Yahweh Shem Shah. All right, that they're not the children of Israel. All right, that they're actually the wicked. All right, everybody's seeing that. All right, and soon to come, Yahweh Shem Shah is going to come back. All right, and put everything in order. All right, that's why it says in Habakkuk. It says, he looked and beheld, and the nations were afraid, roughly paraphrasing, So when Yahushua comes back, he's going to put everybody in order, all right? And the rightful people are going to take hold of that land. That's one of the prophecies in Isaiah 14. It says that the Lord's going to bring us to that land, So that was it on that.
Con, I got something else too.
Barzal?
Slocky, you want Barzal to go in? Keep going.
I mean, you got some other need,
Con. This is real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 12. It says, then this kind of backing up what you were saying, Shaki. It says, "For thus said the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it." Right? So our judgment, which is, it says, whose judgment was not to drink of it, which is talking about Israel, we have surely was punished by the Lord. So not so are you heathens, especially what you Edomites? Are y'all not gonna get punished by the Lord? And guess what? You're doing the abominable and horrific acts that we did in the land. And we got punished for it. That's why Ezra says what? How does he say it? Fuck, I forgot exactly how he said it, but basically, in so many words, Ezra is saying, visit them, Lord, like you visit us. Basically show your love unto them like you did unto us. Basically saying what? Lord, you fucked us up for going off, then fuck these heathens up for going off. And that's exactly what the Lord's gonna do. Starting with who? Esau, Edom. Because why? They're over in that land and they're committing all type of atrocities and abominations over our land. What you got? Fucking Pink City. You got kosher pork. You got matzo balls, which is fucking blood. You got all types of wickedness going on over there. So what, man? So what? Are they gonna go unpunished? What? We're the Lord's chosen. We're the Lord's chosen, and we still got punished for doing horrific acts in the land. So what makes you Edomites thinking you're special? That's all I had. You got it, Barzal. Matter of fact, Slock, I had one more. Verse 13, it says, "For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wasted." All right, that's all I had.
Barzal is on you.
Yeah, I was going to go into the part where, the elder was just talking about, hey, glad you messed him up too. This is Malachi. That question was asked in Malachi chapter 1. It says, the burden of the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to Israel by Malachi. It says, I have loved you, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? That's because we was, getting wrecked for our disappointment, of the Lord. It says, was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So yeah, he loves us because we know in the scriptures he chastises us. And he said, the Lord chastises those whom he loves. If you don't chastise, you like a bastard, and you're not a son. All right. So he will be dealing with Esau, Edom, just like the elder said.
You can go back to that Ezekiel 36.
Ezekiel 36?
Yeah, let's finish that up. Well, Mark, go ahead.
All right. Ezekiel 36, verse 4. It says, therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the words of Yahweh our power. Thus saith Yahweh our power to the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, and to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. It says verse 5, therefore, thus saith Yahweh our power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart and spiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey.
Right, and so you have it where the Balfour Declaration, which was made by Arthur Balfour and Lord Rothschild, which the Rothschilds are the top basic family, the top Amalekites, right? And they made that declaration to successfully, so-called legally, claim the land as theirs to create a state of Israel. That's why it's known as the state of Israel, and that's why they call themselves Israeli. All right, Israeli. When you look it up, the Israeli and the Israelite is two different people. All right, you look up Israeli, it says what? The modern occupants of the land. And then you see Israelite, it says what? The ancient people that belong to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, that'll be us. We're the ancient people, which was ancient, original. All right, that descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Edomites, they descend, or Idumea, as the scripture has said. That's a Greek way of saying Edom. They descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Esau is who they are. Okay? Idumea is a Greek way of saying Edom. And that's what his name is. Edom means red. Okay, and they the ones that got in our land, and the rest of the heathen, the so-called Arab nations. Okay, they have been warned with each other, all right, over our land. And both know the so-called Arabs. You know, after the Lord woke us up, then they would come out and say, "Oh yeah, you guys are the original Jews, the blacks are the original Jews." Motherfucker, we don't need you telling us nothing. You know, we know that we the Lord's people, man. From Judah on down to the rest of us, man. We know that we the Lord's people, man. You didn't have that energy when you was helping Esau take us down as a people. And in particular, our brothers in the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, kept rounding them up, building slave ships. So they come across here, you can remove them far from the borders and shit like that. So, we don't need you heathens help, man. We don't need you heathens help. We don't need you to tell us anything. The Lord, Yahweh Shah, put on our spirits to return to Him and to know Him and to know the knowledge that we have today, man. And the understanding of His word, man, and the prophecies that goes to us return to our land, man. And that's even awakening to our true heritage again. Go ahead, El Gabar.
Khan, I found that what I wanted. It wasn't It wasn't in Ezra. It was actually in Sirach. It was a Sirach chapter 36 verse 5. It says, "Let them know thee as we have known thee." It says that there is no God but only thou, O Lord. And basically it was going into like how you have judged us in our disobedience, or how you showed your power in us to make us fear you. Do that unto these heathens that don't fear you. And how does the Lord basically get your attention? What? By throwing judgment on you. If you do something wrong, then the Lord, how does the Lord get your attention? By judging you. So here is Sirach was saying, like, hey, Lord, hey, listen, the nations, these strange nations, these heathen nations that don't know you, hey, visit them. Show them who you truly are. But that's all I had.
Barzal?
Yeah, back in Ezekiel. All right.
No, I got a precept. I thought you had a precept out.
Okay, I have one too, but go ahead.
Yeah, get yours. You ain't brought yours up yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a visitor come in, so I don't know what I missed. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 25, and I'll begin in verse 17. This is what we're talking about. It says, "Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not Yahweh." And that's that's showing his characteristic today. He's always going up against the weaker people, taking them out. Verse 19, it says, "Therefore it shall be when Yahweh thy power hath given thee rest from all thine enemies around about, in the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee for an inheritance, to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, thou shalt not forget it." So he's going to be done away with. So how is he the people? Okay, and that land for the inheritance, I know you was talking about earlier, the interview between Tucker Carlson and Mike Huckabee. That land is described in Genesis chapter 15, verse 18, which is from the great river of Egypt, being the Nile, all the way over to the Euphrates. And we know the land that they occupy right now, and trying to kick the Palestinians out of, is the headquarters only of Israel, which is described in book of Joshua, chapters 13 through 22. But it actually goes over to the Euphrates, which currently right now separates Iran and Iraq. All right, and all the lands outside of the headquarters are occupied by those Arab heathens. Okay, and they're trying to get that to fulfill prophecy, and that's not going to happen. All right, because that's the Lord. The Lord said He will set us back in that land, as I just read, when He gives us rest, and that just goes to prove, that they are not the people. That's why they're at war with all those people over there. Because they're trying to fulfill that prophecy, and it's not going to happen. And He said He would set us in the land, not the 1948 Balfour Declaration.
Sharky, you want to go ahead? You precept before I get back to it.
Yeah, plus bars are there's also certain prophecies and there's certain things that's automatically going to happen when the rightful people will be set in that land, you know? Because first of all, what they call themselves Israelis, and then where are the tribes at? You know, anytime you talk to they all call themselves Jews. I'm like, well, okay, where's Issachar? Where's Naphtali? Where's Zebulun? Where's Asher? You know, why aren't y'all say, I come from this tribe, I come from that tribe? You know, where's King David? You know, they say all this was supposed to be, well, all this is supposed to be when you people are back in the land. Where I'll be if I read the scriptures and I read this. If I was any Christian, if I was reading the scriptures, I'm like, wait a minute, if the people are back in the land, where are these people at? You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, also too, to your point, Elder, where's the peace on the earth? That's the other one. You know, because it says when the wicked are under authority, the people mourn. When the righteous are under authority, the people rejoice. Nobody's rejoicing right now.
Yeah. Like even in Isaiah the 2nd chapter, it says what? When we go back into the land, what? All you nations are not gonna know, are not even gonna remember how to do war anymore. You know, so
right,
it's a lot of war going on. So I mean, you know, yeah, bro, it's so many fingers pointing away that you guys are not the people. It's not even funny.
And also they're going to be coming to us for that wisdom. Nobody's going to them to be taught. So yeah.
Only people going to them is unless they want some money or get out of a court case or something. That's what they're known for. They're known for getting money and getting out of some type of like trouble. You know, what if you're a priest? You know what happens when you found diddling little boys? Would you get transferred? You know, they only know how to get out of trouble and getting money. That's what they're known for upon the planet Earth.
Yep. And that started with that guy. I forget his name. The ADL. He did something to I think a little girl. Tried to blame it on Jake. Found out it wasn't him, and then he got hung in prison. You remember his name, Hardog?
Yeah. It's not the top of my brain right now, but
yeah,
I know you're talking about. That's how. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he's the reason why the ADL was founded. You know, they want to protect him. And knowing he was guilty, which is what they do now. You know, just like you said, Elder Bar, they can do something over here and run back to isn't real for immunity. That's all.
The ADL, when it started in 1913 by Sigmund Livingston and Benai Griffith. The Leo Frank dude was his name. And what happened is that, you know, the Amalekites, they didn't want to set up America. You gotta see a lot of you Akim out there that's just waking up, or you may be young in the faith. You gotta go deep, man. The Amalekites set up America. They set up the transatlantic slave trade. They set up America. And what happened was they set up all the oppression of the tribes. And so when Leo Frank did that to that girl, he knew that if he blamed it on a Jake, because it was a Judite he blamed it on, that the rest of the Edomites would come against that Judite man and fucking hang him, and lynch him and all that shit. And so once the Lord showed that Judite favor, over him, they was mad about that. Which show you that they have a hatred for Jake. All the Edomites, Amalek and the rest of the Edom. But basically, it backfired on Leo Frank. And then they come with the ADL. Like, that was no defamation that happened to him. See, Cain been fleeing from justice. And that was just a small little snippet of a moment where the wicked had been brought to justice, man, because Psalm 73 said they're not in trouble as other men. But, in that instance, Jake saw a little justice, man. But go ahead, Shaq. Hold the precept. I got a precept too when you're done.
Just backing up with the volume that was also going to. This is Micah 4 and verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and the people shall flow into it. And many nations shall come and say, Come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And see, many nations are not going up there, to learn of the Lord. All right, first off, because they don't know the Lord. All right, and they're not pushing the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, they use the scriptures for their agenda. All right, just like when they was coming against fuck, this is my mind, the Palestinians. All right, they was like, hey, what did they use in First Samuel? That basically referring them to be the Amalekites, and that they need to cut off, so they use the word of the Lord for their benefit, using it deceitfully, verse 3, and he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And the top of this chapter says peaceful latter days. Well, see, and that you don't got that right now. All right, what do you got? It's war all over the place. All right, so obviously, them people in the land, they're not the children of Israel. All right. But as the scriptures say, what? Bastards, Let's see. Verse 4, but they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. Alright? And yeah, everybody's going to be in their own land. Alright? And what? Nobody's going to be afraid. Alright? It's going to be a whole peaceful state when the true Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, starting off with the elect, when we're in rulership, under Yahweh Shah, it's going to be total peace, once Yahweh Shah does his, thing, once he, takes down the heathen nations, put everything in order, that's going to be the last war, World War III is going to be the last war, and then after that, hey, of course, the nation is going to have to get their ass whooped, for 1,000 years, but after that, hey, it's going to be a straight peaceful, earth, That was good enough.
I had that first Samuel you were looking for if you want.
Okay, you go ahead.
All right. This is what Benjamin Netanyahu quoted when he was talking about the Palestinians. It's 1 Samuel 15:3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. All right, and of course we know that was the order given to Saul, and he didn't do it, which prophecy said it wasn't going to happen anyway, because the Lord said back in Exodus he would be a war with Amalek from generation to generation. But he tried to use that scripture. Benjamin Netanyahu tried to use that scripture to justify what he was doing, or what they're currently doing still. So that's it.
Yeah, this is the book of Jeremiah 30, starting at verse 10. It says, Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, except Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar off, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. And this is to the point you brought up Micah 4 and Elder Bar quoted Isaiah 2. Right now the Amalekites are afraid because the Iranians, which are the Persians, are hitting their ass with strikes they didn't thought that they could hit them with. So that proves that that they're not the people, because they're afraid on every side, because the Arab nations are rallying up against them. And also to y'all point, Because I had a precept too backing up, because there was a bar touched on too. I had quoted on it earlier about all the tribes, right? This is Ezekiel 37, and beginning at let's see, Ezekiel 37 and 20. I'm gonna read down a little bit. It says, "And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land." Right? You look at the Amalekites, man. These motherfuckers are scattered all over the earth, man. They grabbing land in Central South America. You know, the whole thing is for the true biblical Israelites to return into the land. Okay, that was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It says, excuse me. It says, verse 22, "And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel." Yeah, because we were split as a nation. It became the southern and northern kingdom. But the Lord said, "You're gonna make us one nation again." Okay, that's why you go into the covenants. It says what? "The days come," said the Lord, "I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah." That's the northern and southern kingdom coming back together as one. I'm reading it right here in Ezekiel 37. It says, "And one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves," because you guys mentioned, Akia mentioned, about the abomination they're doing in the land, the pink city Tel Aviv, the kosher swine and all that shit. That's defilement. It says, "Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things." Are they doing pedophilia? They doing pedophilia and blood sacrifice over there too. Let's not forget that. Okay, because Jeffrey Epstein's an Amalekite. He's only doing what the top wicked Amalekites have taught them. They chewing on baby penises, eating the foreskin off. That's fucking sick, man. Nowhere in our history where the Lord told us to do that shit. Okay, you circumcise a kid, but that's with a knife, not with your fucking teeth. You who that? Elder Bar, you said something?
No, bro, you got it.
Oh, I thought you was, I couldn't see the screen. I'm on my app. But it says, continuing on, it says, "Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power. And David, my servant, shall be king over them." When King David reigned, he reigned over all the 12 tribes. The Lord said he will build the tabernacle of David, which is fallen. And he said he will build it up as in the days of old. You don't see the house of David being built. And first of all, David is the head of the house of David. Okay? King David is the head of that house, man. The Lord said he will establish his throne forever, man. It says, "And David my son shall be king over them all, and they shall all have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them right." Jeremiah 10, I was on that earlier, when it speaks about the heathen. Basically the Lord poured out his spirit among the heathen that called out his name. That's what it was. They called out upon his name, and they don't even call the name of the Lord, man. They don't call him the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Because why? Malachi 1, about the 14th verse, going to what? The Lord's name being dreadful among the heathen. So that's another point, man. We're sitting here calling on the names Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and people question us, and like we're not the people, but we're doing exactly what the scriptures say we're going to do, according to prophecy. We're calling on his name in the pure language. But you brothers got it.
Yeah, I have a precept to back you up on Ezekiel 37. This is the book of Amos, chapter 9, beginning at verse 11, and it reads, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen." Okay, that's all 12 tribes. Okay, and close up the breaches thereof. We know that we were split after Solomon. All right, after Solomon's reign. It says, "I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old." Okay, talking about the land. He says that they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that doeth this. Okay, we know that remnant, it's talking about the lands as well as the people. All right, possess all of it. Isaiah 14 tells us that. We're going to rule over those who rule over us. All right. That's all I have.
Go ahead, Shock. Go ahead, Shock.
So, Salaki, I ain't had none.
There you go, Barry.
Con, I got this is Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." Now we understand that what Jacob being the beginning of the new world and basically all these blessings, and if and not a Jew claiming that they're those people, then my question is, then who was Esau that came in that was over y'all? Because if y'all claim that y'all are the people, that means the last empire, which means was what will be what the Greeks, which means it would be still y'all. You see, so what was that? What was the last people who ruled on the planet Earth that were the so-called Edomites? If you were Jacob, if you're claiming to be Jacob, then who were the Edomites that y'all took out of power that was supposed to be the end of the world? And if you want to say, oh, it was the Greeks, then it was like, well, those are y'all people. You see how it's not lining up. You see how it doesn't make sense, because truly the Edomites are you so-called white people of today's society. That's why you have the whole Rome, and then the rebirth of Rome coming back at the Renaissance, and the deadly wound was healed. See, all that makes sense, to the elect, and when we break it down, now that's why we understand that when it says Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning, that's our kingdom coming in. The reason why all this is happening, the world is in the state it is in, is because why Esau, Edom, who is a so-called white man, is at the ending of his rulership. There isn't no revival after this. There isn't no prophecy that's saying he's going to come back into power, that he's going to be able to bounce back from this. You see, he is the end of the world, which means what and also when it says talk about the end of the world, it's talking about the end of the heathens' rulership too, because after Esau, there isn't no more heathens going to rule the earth. Jacob, the Israelites are going to have the earth and the galaxy forever, the dominion of the universe forever. So ain't no Moabite, ain't no Japhite, ain't no Ishmaelite, ain't no Elamite, ain't no Hamite, ain't none of these other heathens are going to come into power. Esau is going to be the final heathen that ever ruled upon this planet Earth, and then we're going to establish our kingdom forever. You see? And guess what? Another thing too is once we establish our kingdom, there isn't going to be no teetering of power. There isn't going to listen. You heathens are going to be so far beneath us. We're not even going to have to use our full strength to dominate you. That's how far the gap is going to be. What the scripture says, the least of us is going to make you heathens look like child's play. Not to mention that we got King David, the 12, Yahushua himself on our side. You heathens ain't going to think, y'all heathens ain't going to have a thought in y'all mind to think that y'all can come against us. But the Jewish people over there, so they got all types of people disrespecting them, coming against them, talking about war. Even the whole fact of Palestine coming against y'all just shows y'all not the people. Because if we were in our power, best believe in the kingdom of heaven, we ain't gonna have no heathens talking about like, oh, well, we're gonna raise up swords and we're gonna take the Israelites down. Best believe that's not gonna be happening. You brothers got it.
I got a precept for you, brother. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Yeah, you got it.
Oh, okay. This is just to back you up about us having the kingdom. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 18, and it reads, But the saints of the Most High, and we know the saints are the Israelites, according to Psalms 50 and 5 and 148 and 13 and 14. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. It's a never-ending rulership once we come back in power. That's it.
Shock, you got to go before me. I'll bring that up after you.
Alright. The Psalms, I'm trying to think from what I want to bring out first. Psalms 1 and verse I'll start at 4. I'll start at 3. And he shall be like a tree planted. I started 2, it's lucky. Verse 2, but his delight is in the
Just start the top. Just start the top, Bob.
Okay.
Start the top.
Psalms 1 and 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law doth he meditate day and night. And right now, that's the elect. I heard the elect is words about, it's concerning their works, towards Yahweh Shem Yahushua, alright? And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper. So see, the elect, they're going to always, be abounding. They're going to abound because, they delight in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Verse 4, the ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away, and the ungodly being the heathen nations. All right, starting off with Esau, even so-called white men. All right, verse 5. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Real quick, we'll get this word, stand in judgment. Let's see. To stand, it says to rise, arise, stand, rise up. To arise, become powerful, to maintain oneself, to be established, be confirmed. All right, let's get this word in judgment. Mashapat. All right. Judgment, justice, ordinance, judgment, act of deciding a case, place, court, seat of judgment. So see, Esau, hey, when we're in rulership, none of these heathen nations are going to be in the power seat.
Hello?
They're not going to have that authority. All right, because what it's going to be this earth is going to be ruled by Israelites. All right. It says nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. All right, because what you can't have righteous and ungodly people ruling together. That that doesn't make sense. All right, because the righteous they push the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, while the ungodly they push their flesh. All right, they push whatever feels good to them. So with the world that's supposed to be fully righteous, hey, that's not going to work out. All right. It says, for the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. And starting off with Esau, Edom, so-called white man, hey, their ways is about to be, what the scripture say, the former things are past, roughly paraphrasing, it's in my mind right now, but basically the way of life right now is going to be passed away, all right, and a new way of life, all right, is going to be implemented by the elect, all right. That was it on that.
Yeah, I think the scripture says, we look for a new heaven and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, which is talking about what the old heaven and the old earth passeth away, which means like what the way it is life. Everything that Esau says is right. Everything that Esau, how people, basically the way of life of now, it's gonna pass away. In the kingdom of heaven, it's gonna have that that righteous lifestyle, men walking around with beards on their face. You know, these restaurants not selling abominations. You ain't got to worry about what you eating. You know, all these different type of dyes and chemicals in the food, you know, that's in your clothing, wearing mixed fabrics. You know, our women, Israelite women, being with heathen men. You know, everything is going to be literally a totally different mindset. What women are going to be obedient to their husband and to only to their husband. You won't have women bucking up again. You know, it's literally going to have a completely different emotion on earth, you know, than it is today.
Yeah, it was 2 Peter 3. One of my favorite scriptures. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 85. And I'm going to start up. I'm starting at the top. To the chief musician, the psalm for the sons of Korah. Yahweh, Yahweh, thou hast been favorable unto thy land. Thou hast brought back the captivity of Jacob. Thou hast forgiven the iniquity of thy people. Thou hast covered all their sin. And remind you of Lamentations 4, you know, says the punishment of thine iniquities to come, so daughter of Zion. You know. Verse 3 says, thou hast taken away, and also the book of Romans 11, it says that the Lord will turn ungodliness away from Jacob, you know. Verse 3, thou hast taken away all thy wrath. Thou hast turned thyself from the fierceness of thine anger. Turn us, O power of our salvation, and cause thine anger toward us to cease. It says, wilt thou be angry with us forever? Wilt thou draw out thine anger to all generations? Wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? And the Lord is reviving us. All right, the great awakening is the Lord reviving us through the Spirit, man. You know, because we're going to rejoice in the Lord like we do. You know, we do now. You know, we do our video epistles. We go out the highways and hedges. We rejoice in, you know, the power and might of Yahweh Bashim outside. But when we're in the kingdom, we're going to truly rejoice because, you know, we're going to understand that the Lord is going to fulfill everything in totality, man. You know, everything He promised us, everything He's going to do for us. You know, we're going to actually receive it and understand it, you know, entirely, man. What it means to live a life of abundance, man. You know, though we ain't earned it really, you know. We didn't really earn this, man. And it says, Yahweh Shai said that it's the Father's good pleasure to give to us the kingdom. You know, and it's all because of the love of our forefathers, man, that we're able to get the blessings that we're going to get, things we're going to get in the kingdom, man. You know, so, you know, that's humbling, man, to know that the Lord having that much mercy upon us, you know. Verse 7 says, show us thy mercy, O Yahweh, and grant us thy salvation. And salvation will come to the elect first, you know, and the rest of the 1/3. Verse 8, I will hear what the Most High Yahweh will speak, for He will speak peace unto His people and to His saints. Saints are Israelites. But let them not turn again to follow. You know, and the Lord is not going to let us return to follow as far as the elect. All right. Verse 9, surely salvation is nigh them that fear Him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Yea, Yahweh shall give thee that which is good, and our land shall yield her increase. And right now, you know, the land ain't yielding her increase because the people are not in that land. See, that's one thing that when you read the scriptures, the Israelites and the land of Israel have a special bond. You know, the reason why they have a thing called what's called when they bring the trees and grass from other countries into the land of Israel. I know the name, I just cannot think of it right now. It's like Agitas or some shit. Slocky, man. But anyways, they have to bring trees and grass on our land, all right, because the land will not yield its increase until these Amalekites, will show you that the Lord don't favor them. See, that's a fertile piece of land, man, the most fertile on the earth. that whole region is known as the Fertile Crescent. You know, so it's a fertile land, but because the wicked is in that land, it's not fertile right now. It's not going to yield the strength of it to the fucking heathen. Okay? But when we go back, the land is going to actually flourish. It's going to actually yield its whole increase unto us, the true people. We're going to see Jerusalem be beautified again in the kingdom. And you can read that all throughout the scriptures, man. That's Isaiah 60, 61, I think it is. And you got other scriptures, man. You know, it speaks about how the gate is going to be, you know, how the streets going to be paved in gold, all that, man. How our gates are going to be open continually day and night. Then we're going to bring, basically the Gentiles will bring forth their wealth unto us, man. So you don't see that going on right now. Instead, what you see going on right now is a lot of rape, robbery, and murder throughout that region. Okay, and that's not how the people want to return to the land. We're not gonna by force do anything to any of them nations. They're gonna come willingly. Like the other bar was went into. Who's gonna come against people that got spiritual powers that has a fucking heavenly aura of glory around them, man? You know. No one gonna come against us, man. No one gonna fight against, you know, people that's, you know, power that's, you know, out of this world, man. And that's gonna be because y'all not gonna give us that power, man. You know, but who we're going to precept?
No, I ain't got nothing.
Well, you know, it might go ahead, Barzal. Does nobody have another precept?
I don't have anything either.
Okay, I gotta close the precept. If nobody got anything,
You got it, bro.
let me see here. We kind of pulled it earlier, but we're gonna bring it out again. It says Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And when you set something, that's a physical act. And we know the Lord is going to actually set us physically in that land by way of the chariots, man. Because the elect got to go on the chariots to see the destruction, man. To look through the sea of glass to see the destruction of Babylon the Great, and also see the land of Israel be cleansed with thermonuclear fire. All right? And it says, it says, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And we know that's the Israelite foreigners, man. All right. It says the Lord will recover the remnant of His people from all the, you know, the different lands, man, and bring them to their own place, which is the land of Israel. Okay. It says, verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, which are slaves, and they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And that started with Amalek, because truly we are the captives of Amalek, man. Again, they set up America. They financed the transatlantic slave trade, man. Okay, it was Amalek. All right, and that's prophecy, man. How we going to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron? Those are the elites, man. The goddamn tiny tops, man. That's waging this war on Iran or Persia. You know, you're going to go into captivity, man. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, man. You know, it says. Somebody trying to say something, or somebody had a background music.
No.
Okay. I heard some slacking. It says, verse 3, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Right. So the Lord will actually give us that true rest that we've been yearning for. Okay? We ain't gonna have to work no more. Hell, we ain't gonna die no more. We're gonna be made immortal. You know? We don't know what sickness is. You know, we don't know what waking up on an hour every hour for a goddamn alarm clock. You ain't gotta worry about your neighbors, because all Israel gonna be righteous, man, and all Israel gonna be safe in that day. Like I read earlier, nothing gonna make us afraid. All right, everything will bow to us, man. The people and the beasts of the field, man. You know, it says, and the hard bondage wherein I was made to serve, which is America, man. The hardest bondage that Jake had to serve, man, from Judah on down, was here in America. Okay? They don't even make no kind of labors here in America. The scriptures tell us in Wisdom, it's like Wisdom Solomon 5, man. So bro, it's a nation, bro. Bro, especially Judah, man. Especially Judah. Taking on the hardest part of slavery for the rest of the tribes, being that they're the head tribe, you know? And we know that the concentration of the oppression is heavily upon Judah, you know? But no, the Lord want to actually give us rest from all these things we've been experiencing, man. You know, being that, you know, we see and know what this world look like, what not having peace or rest look like. But in the kingdom, we're going to experience all that rest, all that peace that we've been, you know, man, praying to Yahweh Shah day in, day out about. You know, Lord, when you going to come and redeem us? When you going to, you know, remove these heathen from over us and put us over them? We're going to be sent back being true royal people, man. And royal people have slaves, man. Okay, royal people have slaves. All right, and also we're going to be priests. All right, we're going to be priests, man. That's fulfillment of what? I will make you a king or nation of kings and priests, man. And that's when the law gonna go for it. Now you even gotta obey by our law that was given to us by Yahweh Shai, which is the righteous law in the earth, man. You have to abide by it, and you're gonna have to suffer the penalty for not keeping it. Because you have to learn the way of righteousness, man. Just like we did. You know? But anyways, if nobody else got any other precepts,
Yeah. Just to back you up, where you said they don't serve and there's going to be a penalty. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, and verse 12. And it reads, "For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted." That's pretty straightforward, you know. When we in rulership, you know, and they don't serve us like they're supposed to do, you know, do like, you know, we instruct them, they have to pay. And we know that's going to be a continual thing with Esau Edom. You know, it said, you know, scripture, Isaiah 26:10 says he cannot learn righteousness. Okay? He's not going to change, so he's going to always, you know, give us a reason to dish out some judgment, you know. What the scriptures say, can you bring a clean thing out of something that's unclean? No, you can't. Who can make straight which the Lord had made crooked? You know, nothing. So that's the way he is. And you know, hey, when he doesn't serve like he's supposed to, he's gonna get that judgment, just like he said. That's all I had.
Perfect. So with that, again, we're gonna give our honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Again, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who will teach well. Shalom to your fellow laborers out there again. Lord willing, you know, y'all was edified as far as the flock of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And Lord willing, we'll see you again in another video lesson. Till next time, we'll be at the elect Shalom and Bible Ball and Kwame Shalom. Shalom.